Okay, folks, welcome to another political nooner with my partner here, Blake McKenzie, and yours truly, Rachel's Ghost. This is a political show we do. We do encourage folks, if you're tuning in, give us a thumbs up on the program because we're new out of the gate. We're trying to get this thing to grow. We'll see if it does. There's a lot of voices out there. We're just two more. But it's a great vehicle, both for Blake and myself, to get a lot of our thoughts about what's going on in the world around us, and just add our own opinion as so much information and news is breaking in the world around us. I'm a British Columbia, Canada, and Blake is in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada, the capital city of British Columbia. So we're Canadian, but we both of us have a real love for the United States of America. And I'm actually one of those people that is not wiping one tear away if we somehow end up becoming in some form or the other a 51st state. I'd love to fly the Stars and Stripes. All the traditional love I had for Canada, whatever it was, they killed it. Now it's BNEs, it's a bunch of home invasions. It's a post-nationalist state with no core identity or shared values to unite any of us. Well done, Trudeau. You earned, and let's go big on this. He's earned, Justin Trudeau earned the Nancy Pelosi applause of condescension. Well done, Justin. Yes, son of a bitch. So anyway, we got another one lined up for you today. James Farley in the house. Jack Day is in. It's a grower, not a shower. Yeah, we're just, it just takes a bit to go. Okay, so Sue, you've already brought the first thing out. Lots of news coming out with the Diddy trial all going on. Now we've got Epstein. The three big ones are Epstein, the Nexium investigation, which was interesting. Allison Mack from Smallville, the Warner Brothers TV show, she got arrested. The head of that cult got arrested. Sex cults galore. It's all over. And now Diddy with his lotion parties and all the rest of it. So we got one here. Let's take a look. This is a guy from Dom Luker, breaker of narratives. Breaking news. It was just revealed in the Diddy freak-off trial that former President Obama used to meet with the man that used to pick up drugs for Diddy, and confirmed that he met with Obama and other former presidents. The hole just got deeper than we ever imagined. If you scroll up, you'll see that this graphic he's got is actually rotating text on it. So he met with a lot of people. Did you ever pick up drugs? Combs? Yeah. Percocet. Celebrities have died for that. People die from Percocet overdose. I don't recall that. So he met a lot of people, former presidents, former Barack, President Obama being mentioned in conjunction with the whole Diddy extravaganza. Yeah, can you throw that link up too, Sue, the one you just dropped? Because that is hilarious. So, I mean, this is crazy. I mean, the critics of our side of the aisle, they go, oh, Trump's a friend of Epstein, all this shit. The thing they forget, Epstein was a connected guy who talked to a whole bunch of people. My challenge for them is you got to get Trump on the plane heading off to the island, or get Trump on the island. If he's not on the island, but he's meeting him at some social gathering in New York, it means nothing. You got to get the guy on the island, or get the guy at the Diddy party. Get him in with Diddy, then you got something. But if you don't have that, you got nothing. More news coming out of the Diddy trial. This was really interesting here. U.S. TV star, this concerned citizen, love that name. U.S. TV star Steve Harvey was having relations with Diddy for over 20 years. Here he is talking about baby oil on pizza, and yes,
baby oil is
it's exactly what you think.
It just go with everything. You can get baby oil on pizza. I done got it on pizza before. You taste it, you can't even hardly taste it. I done had baby oil all around my mouth before. I don't even know what's on there. It's just a baby oil type night. It's just baby oil.
All right.
Praise the Lord, baby oil. Baby oil is,
Okay, so that's kind of disturbing, to say the least. I mean, Who makes that joke? Who makes the correlation with baby oil? And of course, I know we're not, because we're on YouTube, but we got to be careful about how far we go with this shit. But suffice to say, we won't tell you what pizza is. It's just a lovely Italian dish. Blake and I love our pizzas. Blake, let's answer the eternal question for our viewers. Should we put the pineapple on it or not?
Isn't that a symbol for swingers?
It's actually worse.
If you put it on the porch.
Yeah, if you put it on the porch. Yeah, isn't that the thing where you put a light on the porch to let the neighbors know you're a swinger or something? There's some sort of code
with pineapple. Yeah.
Is it a pineapple?
Porch pineapple?
Yeah.
A porch pineapple, you're a swinker. Anyway, it's just crazy what's going on. So the revelation of that was Steve Harvey, apparently another one allegedly involved, Barack Obama, allegedly. But these are the names that keep coming up. They keep coming up in relation to Nexium. They come up in relation to the Epstein case. And now we got this. Now, in the case of Nexium, of course, it wasn't necessarily some of these big elites. It seemed to be more, but it was the same kind of idea, sex slaves and all this kind of nonsense going on. But I think it lends itself to the idea that there is a culture of, dare I say, perversion out in the boot where there's innocent victims. And the Nexium had certainly sex slaves. And if you're a slave, you're a victim, okay? Slaves as victims. Let's try and remember that. Thoughts about this, apart from just give me your rundown on what you think about Diddy, Obama, and this kind of thing that we're hearing.
It's a tough one, because it's hard to tell. I mean, the Epstein Island sounded a lot more like an operation to get dirt on people, to control people. The Diddy story seems to go that way, but was it used similar to Epstein? Was it another Epstein's Island scenario where they were assets being used to control very powerful people? And is that really what's happening here, or is it just symbol of the depravity of these people are just so extreme? They've shown that they've allowed their society and everything around them to collapse into this, I don't know what you describe it. It's self-idolizing, we're the gods of the new world. And they can't do anything higher than them. And they actually start to believe that stuff. So they have these almost bizarre orgies, and only the elite get to play in that, because it's we're like the purebloods of the wealthy and the new aristocracies. This isn't anything new. We knew Rome went through this. We knew there was Caesars had we think about what's the name of the nasty Caligula comes to mind. Little Boots doing the same thing as Diddy. Exactly. So essentially, is it anything new in the world? No, but is it something that shows really the decline of our leadership and those that our society has chosen to idolize? And if there's a learning lesson in this, is stop idolizing, politicians, idolizing actors and musicians. Don't put them up on that level of a pedestal, because it shows how far they can go. But the what's behind the curtain is, I want to know, why was there an operation going on behind the scenes here to manipulate and control people to get them to do their bidding? And we talk about the WF types, the global powers that be. Did they do this, or is it just simply some nasty parties that got out of control, and Diddy was covering his tracks to enrich himself personally?
Well, two thoughts come to mind on this. One is the waning influence. You're talking about the influence. They thought we'd follow the stars. Once upon a time, a celebrity could go out and do an endorsement. A celebrity could go out and say something, and miracles would happen, or mountains would move, because they carried a lot of clout. And right now we've got President Trump. Can you grab that link? I've got one on the hot tamale with Alanis Morissette. I think there's a link for that I gave you, Sue. But here's the thing: they thought we'd follow the stars, but I think the clout, Hollywood itself is like, we aren't following the pictures. People aren't going out to the movies. A lot, they're dicking around with all these beloved franchise. Doctor Who, the Fantastic Four is taking a big hit right now because as the critical drinker, and voices like the critical drinker are taking it to CNN and MSNBC. Rachel, we mentioned the other day, Rachel Maddow's gone. They're losing their influence. I think in prime time, CNN had 500,000 viewers in prime time. A figure came out, 500,000 in prime time. The problem with the left media, of course, legacy media, which is left, is that they're competing against each other. So Fox is kind of left all by itself as kind of a right wing, even though it's controlled. I believe it's controlled opposition. Nonetheless, we saw that clip with, and what we've got to stop is the undermining of democracy. We saw the clip, and they're all saying, and Fox is right in there, the Fox affiliates. So I think Hollywood's losing its influence. I don't think the stars have the clout, and they certainly can't turn an election. So we got George Clooney coming out. We've got, what is it, white guys for Kamala or some freaking thing. Anyway, so let's take a look at this. This is the always controversial Laura Loomer, but I'll read this for you. Alanis Morissette's Alanis Company received over $95K from Kamala Harris's presidential campaign post-election. It's listed as event services and catering. But FEC records uncovered by Loomer and a number of other individuals reveal that Kamala Harris's failed 2024 presidential campaign paid Alanis Morissette's company Epiphany Productions 95 plus for services, quote, services related to a fundraising event. The payments made in November after Morissette endorsed Harris in post-election include almost $7,000 for catering food beverages on November 15th and $88,000 on November 19th, sent to Epiphany Productions' New York address. She's listed as CEO and secretary. So we'll scroll down, Sue, to the second paragraph on that. The payments raise questions about potential campaign finance violations, as Morissette, known for her music career, has no public history in catering or event planning. Okay, so she was, I guess her company was doing the catering and everything, but I mean, what? The Harris campaign has not addressed the transactions, which are not publicly reported during the campaign, but were instead recorded after the 2024 election, once Kamala received blowback for paying for celebrities to endorse her. Efforts to contact Morissette and Epiphany Productions were, without anyone's surprise, unsuccessful. Significant payments to Morissette's company, coupled with her endorsements of Kamala Harris and hosting of a campaign fundraiser, should draw scrutiny, especially following Trump's Truth Social post yesterday, in which he called for investigations into Harris's use of campaign funds for celebrity endorsements. Beyonce came out with a hi there, ho there, hey there, and didn't even perform, and then went away with a big paycheck. The transparency and purpose of these transactions to Morissette warrant further examination. Question: did Kamala Harris deliberately mislabel a paid celebrity endorsement as catering? Inquiring minds want to know. So look at all the expense, all this effort put in, and it failed. This was a failed campaign, despite all the clout, celebrity clout. Same with Carney coming in with Canada, with Mike Myers and the elbows up. Let's get some American-based a former Canadian to speak about the current situation.
Neil Young.
Neil Young, another loud leftist voice. Marty in Oregon, welcome to the show. We love you, Marty. So good to see you.
You can pay for entertainment. You are not allowed to pay for a celebrity for an endorsement.
So you can pay for entertainment, but you can't pay for a celebrity
Beyonce comes
endorsement.
out, does a ringing endorsement of Kamala Harris, and walks off the stage.
And then she's just gone.
Does not perform. So she's in doo-doo, and Kamala's
Did she
in
shake
doo-doo.
her booty?
did.
But so is Oprah, because Oprah claimed she was not paid for her services. And there's a video on X right now where
Yeah.
somebody actually interviewed her as she was walking and said, "Did you receive payment for that?" And she said, "No, I didn't." Boom. There's on the Harris campaign expenditure report 2 payments to her production company.
Yeah.
I can only do this from an anecdotal perspective, and I apologize to our viewing audience. Might want something more, but at least for myself, and I'll let you answer the same question. The celebrities, I don't give a fuck what they say anymore. I don't give a fuck.
I agree.
I don't care what their politics are, whether they're pro me or against me or whatever. I don't care. They hold nothing. They're just people, and they've blown it. And I used to revere them. The Beatles were God, and I look up to all this stuff. But no more. What about you, Blake? Same thing.
Absolutely. I mean, there's even I think what angers me most about this is this massive hypocrisy on the left and let's talk about foreign influence in that alone, because why wouldn't somebody bring that up as well? Alanis Morissette is a Canadian. Why is her endorsement of, unless she's a dual citizen, I don't know.
I'll look her up. Wikipedia is pretty good on that.
But she's from Toronto.
Yeah.
But even here in Canada, our media leaders, our political leaders all interjected their positions on Trump during the election. They campaigned against him.
Yeah.
And yet, as soon as an American on the right spoke up to defend Canadians in a Canadian election, all of a sudden that's foreign influence. That's Trump interjecting into the Canadian politics, or right wingers coming in to attack Canadian politics. So here's this, but glowing hypocrisy. The fact that we know our left-wing parties, like the Liberal parties, have hired Hillary Clinton to come and speak at their conventions at huge amounts of money. And yet when we had Eric Trump come up here for an event, they tried to shut it down. They tried to make it so expensive, the hall they had rented, saying there was going to be all these extra expenses for that. But I'm just saying, like, it is the fact that this cult of personality, what you're talking about, and it is, people, they do believe that these people hold sway. I think of Taylor Swift, who came out literally after the debate, was, you could tell it was pre-programmed and planned, and all of a sudden had this big speech of why she was supporting Kamala now after the debate. Well, you know what? The debate just ended, and boom, that message went everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, that was concocted crap, and I think everybody knew it, and it was, and her crocodile tears, arguing with her parents about her feelings on it. It's like, cut the stage garbage. We're done with your production, Hollywood. We don't believe you. We know you're full of crap. We know you're just a propaganda arm now. You don't produce, productions that really anybody care about. You're losing. In the words of, what's his name? I'm thinking of Charlie Sheen, winning, right? Well, guess what? You're losing. You're losing. So, nobody cares what you think anymore. And maybe finally that veil has been lifted, and we're not going to be enamored by the culture people that lead, presumably lead our culture. Are going to be in those positions to influence people to that level anymore. And we see a lot of people shifting, right? That's the thing. They're actually being able to speak out and be themselves.
Yeah. Okay, so 2 things from you, and then I'll turn to Marty's comment. But one thing is, Alanis Morissette became an American citizen. She has dual citizenship, became an American citizen. I'm so envious of her. I wish I was a big pop star, and then I could get my American citizen just handed to me. It would be beautiful. 2005, she became American. So she's American citizen under dual citizenship. The other issue is the waning influence of these celebrities. I think you make a great point by mentioning Taylor Swift. I remember on my old program, whenever politics had come up, and people were telling me, "You're dead now, Rachel. Trump's finished. He's got the Swifties. 1 million Swifties are coming after Trump. Look out!" And it's all over. And of course, at the end of the day, it wasn't enough. It was, as Trump said, too big to rig. In fact, the people were saying, MAGA, we were saying it, too big to rig. Marty goes, I don't mind that Kid Rock, Ted Nugent, Lee Greenwood talk politics. Like the music or don't. It's no biggie. Yeah, I don't care what anybody says. I'm the same way. I'm not going to stop buying a Bruce Springsteen album if it's good, just because I don't like his politics or Madonna or any of these other high-profile leftists. If it's a good song and I can dance to it, I'll give it a 95 deck. And Marriott Bandstand, PA Philadelphia, PA, it's Bandstand. We love Dick Clark. The late great. But, the thing is, it's not going to affect me that way. But I don't listen to them for political ideas. People come out, hey, Rachel, did you see where Paul McCartney or something, they go, yeah, one of your Beatles, Ringo, yeah. And I go, I don't give a fuck, man. I mean, I'm a Christian, so I got my, thing going already, and I have my Christian music heroes kind of thing. And you just go, great. It's wonderful that they've got all this talent, but it doesn't translate into the world of politics. And I think the fact that Taylor Swift and George Clooney, all of Hollywood was behind Kamala, and they lost. And I think that's significant. The dream is over. We're seeing a lot of these movies are suffering in ratings. We're seeing cancellations when they take Doctor Who, and they're playing all sorts of identity politics with that franchise. The thing's dead in the water. I love the fact that people like The Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic, guys like this are getting on Piers Morgan. These podcasters, these guys in their basement are suddenly being elevated to the world stage. And we were talking yesterday, I was on the British Columbia ferry. It's a boat that's traveling back and forth between the mainland, British Columbia, and Vancouver Island, where I reside, where Blake resides. And I'm on there, and they've got CTV broadcast on the television. That's legitimacy. I can hardly wait for the day when you and I will be on there. Oh, look, they're playing one of our shows. Yeah. Blake's looking good in that episode. And, so you want all this sort of thing. 4D goes, I don't mind folks criticizing Trump, but when their critique was AOL, as prior administration betrayed human rights all over the show, they have no credibility, no integrity. Well, for the most part, 4D, I'm so glad you're here, but I'm going to add to that comment. The problem with the majority of the Trump criticism I got is he's just orange man bad. Oh, he's just an awful person. Well, how is he awful? Oh, he didn't pay his contractors. What, 1986, 1975? He fooled around on Melania. It's all, these are the criticisms. Yeah, but how does that affect the running of country? I mean, JFK was banging anything on two legs and boobs. In fact, I had fear while I was in my early stages of transition, and JFK had got me. But, it's just nonsensical.
Dave.
Breaking news. I just saw James Comey on the beach in a bikini. Holy smokes. Okay, so Comey's in trouble. Holy smokes. Because of the whole thing with the 86. And somebody posted that Amazon's now doing 86.47. You can buy a little ball cap on Amazon with it. So it's the death culture, the wages of sin are death. It seems almost to be a death cult. I don't have a link for it, but maybe you could just Google MAID Manitoba, Canada. Made Canada. Big story out of Manitoba. Dealing with the medically assisted say goodbye, sayonara to children now. So it's very controversial because it's the Canadian government. And there's one comment in this pamphlet, which is just absolutely horrifying. It's an absolute death cult running these nations. Blake, what the quote was you can buy this medically assisted such and such, and we'll help you out, and it's going to cost you like so much money for your medication. But if you go MAID, it's only going to cost $3,000. It's like 30. It's like cheaper to dump yourself. Manitoba MAID. If you do Manitoba MAID, you should find it.
Well, and that's when the socialist system starts eating its own. The whole point is that it's a collapsing system, and the idea is it's cheaper to just terminate the unfunded liabilities than it is to actually save people.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. That's been all over X yesterday and last night. The photographs of those panels. Apparently, and I could be incorrect, but I believe those panels were used at a church, I think, in Manitoba. They were actually a presentation that somebody was giving. Just so for clarity, it wasn't like a government booth somewhere or something like that. But my understanding is that they were using them at a church panel to show what the policies were.
Yeah. Okay, well, there's the actual pamphlet that they put out, and
Yeah.
one of it actually highlights this thing. Big hello to my sister Maureen. She goes, I don't give a flying fuck what the musicians' politics are. If I could groove to music overrides the stupidity of the politics, it's got a good beat and I can dance to it, Dick. That's exactly what I was saying. We're on the same page. Okay, here we go. This is the article in question. This is a really interesting stuff in Canada. Spotted in Manitoba, you have to be a special kind of demonic to advocate for MAID for young, vulnerable people and people who are, we don't use that word on here. So imagine walking into a clinic for help and being told the world would be better off without you. That you should cave to the lies the devil on your shoulders is telling you it would be more affordable for Canada's healthcare system if you were gone. As someone who has transformed my life and become empowered to yada, yada. But if we can go big on that graphic, Sue, if you double click on that on your page, yeah. Okay, 1 in 20 people will wait more than 4 months for counseling. The waiting period for MAID is only 3 months. Don't wait around 4 months to get some sort of help. We'll take you off the planet if we do you quick and easy in 3 months with our expedited bye-bye program. It's absolutely nuts. I got a link I'm going to share. I'm so fortunate I can actually share a link. This came out on the Glenn Beck program. It's from the World Economic Forum a few years ago. Check this.
The Earth just cannot handle the sheer number of humans who live here. Something has to give. And I believe that it's up to us who have lived a good life to make sure that our children will have the opportunity to live good lives too. I have lived a good life.
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 Okay, so UN Division for Sustainable Development. I'm an old fucker. I have lived a good life. The Canadian government, the World Economic Forum would love to see me gone. You know why? Because I'm bad for the planet. My carbon footprint's so great. I'm costing a lot of health care because I'm elderly and I'm not working anymore. I'm just retired. Playing Oblivion and Remastered. It's a great game. I'm a little dark elf and I'm running around doing magic spells and causing all sorts of trouble all over my happy little elf world. So anyway, I'm doing no good. So they want the old folks off the planet. Yep. And then now it looks like they're even saying, hey, young people, you don't have to hang around either. Let's check out. So your thoughts on that world? It's from the, what was it? The Association for Human Development, some bloody awful thing.
Well, I know that there's been a lot of chatter for a number of years. Glenn Beck's pointed to it a number of times where you've pulled that from, but that there is a transhumanist cult in this world that believes that we should be culled down to about 500 million people. And I think they alluded to the Georgia Guidestones. That was one of the group that put that up. I think was tied to Ted Turner, I believe. At least allegedly he was involved with that. But that is the group of these global elites that believe there's too many people on the earth, that we should narrow it down to about 500 million, and that would be sustainable. Of course, the elites would be in charge, while the remainder of that 500 million would be mainly there to serve their needs. So it is, again, a death cult. Selfish, godlike sense that these people have about themselves. And but I think there's another agenda to it. And I think it's simply those that know that they have bankrupted our global currencies and they are making it to the point where these unfunded liabilities, they're seeing their bean counters are tracking this. They're saying, okay, we're in declining numbers. We can't afford to pay for these people in retirement. We can't afford to pay these people for their medical bills. We can't afford to pay them out on their pension plans. All that stuff, I believe, is all interrelated. I always go back to follow the money. Go where the money goes, and that's going to find the answer, because the guys who have to pay it out don't want to pay it out. So this is great propaganda. You know what? Nice fluffy music,
Yeah.
Soylent Green style. I'm going to go kill myself. They'll play a nice video. You had a good life, and away you go into
The
be
sunset,
terminated.
and you made a great legacy for your children. I'm going to Marty right now. Great question theologically. I love the question, Marty. Rach, what's your theology on that word? Heaven possible or separation? Heaven is absolutely possible. There's nothing. Here's the idea. It comes out of the idea that you're not looking towards God for your salvation, but you're doing yourself in. But God is an amazing, God judges the heart. That's just depression. A lot of people deal with depression, and they choose, because of the pain, the emotional pain they're in, they opt to, take themselves out. I would argue that God looks on the heart. God knows far more than we do. And I think it's foolish to make a hard line doctrine on that when the Bible doesn't say anything about it. Have you got a scripture for me that says if you do this, there's nothing like that in scripture that I'm aware of. We have people doing that in scripture. There's a lot of stuff that happens in the Bible. Oh my God. But, my take is let's not be dogmatic on it. I think God judges the heart, and we leave it up to him because it's too harsh a thing. It's without thought, it's without feeling, and to me, it's without spirit. My spirit doesn't go, oh yeah, I get huge witness in the Spirit of God talking to me, saying, yeah, that's a definite no. Blake, your thought on that?
Well, I think of the scripture, all have sinned, all have fallen short before the glory of God.
Yeah.
Everybody's a sinner. Everybody's in the same boat. Nobody can purify themselves before God. You can't do it without Christ. So that
all manner of sin and blasphemy shall be forgiven then, save one, and that's blasphemy against the Holy Spirit. That's the only unforgivable. And we can do that in another show.
Yeah, well, I think the person or the entity that performed blasphemy of the Holy Spirit out of anybody would have been Satan, right? That there's he was there in front of God and had that ultimate rejection because he rejected God.
Yeah, I love this this quote by Sue. This is scripture. Nothing can separate us from the love of God. Nothing. So, and people have been in dire straits, and all sorts of things happen to people. And, but God is love. And that's the end. And God is love. And God works no ill towards his neighbor, right? Let's see what else is going on here. Will we need a UBI in the future with AI and automation? There will be less job opportunities. Well, these are some of the challenges that our humanity is facing. We got Elon Musk. Elon's Blake and I before the show we're talking about gray hats, black hats, white hats. Elon's more of a gray hat. He's a very light gray because he's doing more good than harm. But he's a transhumanist in many ways. He's having no trouble with Neuralink. And when you have that kind of secular approach to things, humanity, we're just evolved protoplasm. Then let's put a microchip in it, hybrid it, and we're all going to become, what was it?
We are Borg.
Yeah, I'm Lucretius. I'm Lucretius of the board. My God, it's Captain Picard. He's all Roboto. What's that? Arigato, Mr. Roboto.
Yeah, exactly. I see myself more like Steve Austin, though, if that happened.
Yeah. Chase Farley says Elon is a futurist, and Diddy is. But but within that context, is more within a humanist framework that Elon operates, and I operate from a Christian perspective. So we divert, we separate there. But but I like him. I do like the guy. I like the man. Right? I think he's like clearly on the spectrum. Like he's a character. We got some more stories to cover. Let's keep moving along. It's a good show. There's always something going on. Okay, this is kind of an interesting one. This is Biden with, the apologetics are coming in for him. So there's one from Cat Turd at the very top, Sue, talking about. I love Cat Turd. This guy's a rancher in Florida. He rescues dogs, all this sort of thing. Super nice guy. But he's all in on Trump. I just love him. But he comes up with this one here. Let's read it aloud for you here. Make it go big. There we go. Oh, for fuck's sake, what a lie. Cover up. Get this, Blake. I mean, are we supposed to believe this? CBS News medical contributor and former Biden transition official claims White House doctors didn't do a PSA test on the president in order to save money due to his advanced stage. As a result, they missed the cancer. We are saving a couple of bucks here. It was just too serious to spend money on. He's old. Oh my God. And as a result, we've misdiagnosing him. Your thoughts? My BS meter's off the charts.
Maybe they sent him to Canada to be treated.
If they had done that, they might have gotten away with it. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
The easiest test you can get is a prostate test.
Yeah.
Well, the problem has been all along, the spin machine has just been off the charts ever since he was elected, in 2020. And we know he's never been mentally there. And anybody can see there was some form of dementia happening. Yeah. Something was happening medically with him. But the fact that they just keep spinning lies, just stop lying. Nobody believes you anymore. That's the problem. The more you talk, the worse it gets for your party. Stop it, right? It's just stop it.
I love that. I love that because, the push on is like, he was fine. That we were talking yesterday about Jake Tapper actually arguing with Laura Trump, saying he's got a stutter. Are you judging people that stutter? You're mean. You conservatives just mean. And it's like, no, she goes, I'm talking about mental decline in his faculties. He's not operating on all cylinders. It's not about a speech impediment. I wasn't even aware, says Laura, at that time, that he even had a history of stuttering. They're saying, oh, it's all about stuttering. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about that ghostly, ghastly, vacant look where the lights are on and nobody's home and Biden's just staring there at a dinner. So he just, have some num-nums. Here comes the airplane. Open the hangar door.
A little oatmeal.
All right. We got another good one coming in right now. 25th Amendment, ladies and gentlemen. This is a great account. If you're not following Brian Cates, he's a little, I want to say, pedantic as a personality, a little brittle, a little edgy, but I like the stuff he produces. Here we go. He goes, I told you this was going to happen. The 25th Amendment can be retroactively applied here, especially when a massive criminal RICO conspiracy was utilized to prevent the constitutional application of the 25th Amendment. This was not a political strategy to hide Biden's true condition from the public, while other unelected people hid behind him as they made executive branch policy and governed the country for 4 years. The American people were victims of a massive criminal fraud. This was a crime. Hell yes, it's going to be investigated. They're going to find out who was wielding the auto pen, and those people are going to prison. This is massive call for accountability. Again, the account, Brian Cates. Brian Cates. So check that if you're not subscribed to Brian over there on the X platform. He's a great account. I encourage people to do so. Okay, so we believe that as much as I believe Blake is sitting in the desert right now out in Arizona. And they didn't do a cognitive test either. And of course, we mentioned yesterday that Trump and even Obama and Bush and Clinton's medical profiles are all available for the public. Biden's are sealed. You cannot look at Biden's medical record. So that's kind of telling. Everything's got to be transparent. Going forward, we need transparency. There's been too much bullshit, so much obfuscation, so much smokes and mirrors. People can't get to the truth because there's just so much interference from the media and the tech. Of course, the tech companies were carrying water for the Democrats during 2020. And this is when we were all out. And of course, during the incident of the health crisis of 2021, they were carrying water at the same time, propagating the message. now the big revelation is that the media is all going, what, us? It's the Dems. We wasn't us. Somebody, if there's a bus somewhere, Dave, pickup artist, there's a big bus the Democrat Party is underneath it, thrown there by their media handlers. Holy smokes. Just, it's absolutely nuts out there.
Fingers are pointing at each other now. They're all running scared.
I love this. I'm waiting for Mustafa. The circle of life. That's fantastic. Thank you, James. Yeah, it's
right about somewhere up there on the hill, right?
Akina Kawada. Remember that, the little song?
Hakuna Matata.
Hakuna Matata. Holy smokes. It's not my language, but, all power to those that speak it. Okay, so we got that. Okay, we got big news coming out of England. Sue, do you want to just pop that out, the Rebel News one with Tommy?
Yeah,
Tommy, can you hear me? Yeah, this is an absolute outrage. This guy has been persecuted. They had him in solitary confinement. His crime for bringing out the spotlight and putting it on all the child trafficking that was going on in England, the grooming gangs over there by some of the newcomers over there. So problematic. And again, we're not, we love our newcomers. But the big news here, breaking, judge rules that Tommy Robinson can go free. He's expected to leave prison later this week. So this is great news. I looked at him from about 6 months ago. And this guy was skin and bones. I mean, there was nothing to the guy. He's lost a lot of weight. He's been in prison for a good long while now.
Solitary as well.
And I saw one of the legacy media headlines on it. I think it was CTV or something over on X. And they said he gets early release. This is how those fuckers play it. He's getting an early release. He should never have been in there. I forget what the crime was.
Well, he had a controversial video that he
criticizing the Starmer government.
His movie kind of thing. Yeah. And he wouldn't take it down from social media. So they stuck him in jail for contempt of court.
Yeah.
So he has finally decided he's going to take the video down.
Yeah.
So because he's done that, the judge has said, okay, we're going to let you go. There's a special name for this procedure, but he's asked that everyone take the video down. Certain places around the world will refuse to do it. So they were holding him longer, but the judge has realized that Tommy has talked to all these people and said, please take it down. He's done due diligence. They won't take it down. He said, you can go free because you've done your best.
You've done your bit. Yeah. So, but the fact that they demand to take information down, what the fuck, what kind of hockey puck are you playing with?
About the grooming gangs. And
we don't want the grooming gangs mentioned. God forbid that happens. Oh, Blake, I hope you're not planning on traveling to England anytime soon.
That's right.
It might go badly for you.
Yeah.
Well, and you can see, and the bizarre thing is that Starmer is now at least providing lip service that he's choosing to start changing the immigration problem that they've been having and dealing with the grooming gangs that they've been having in the UK. But we talked about that before. Will he actually do anything? But the fact is, Tommy pointed this out. His only crime was essentially telling the truth. That's it. You told the truth, you embarrassed the government, you go to jail. That's how they think.
I love 4D. He goes, oh, God, England. Of course, 4D is over in Manchester. Super good guy, very intelligent guy. We're glad he found us over here on this platform or this channel. I try to forget I live here, but it's the 60s. I can't sustain that belief for days at a time. Will the Beatles bubble burst? Time will tell. In other words, he's just trying to assuage all the stress of being there with people. The cops are showing up for mean tweets at people's houses, and it's just crazy over there. It's absolutely nuts.
Well, we have our own too. We have our own situation, like Tommy Robinson and Tamara Leach. I mean, there's the same situations happening here.
So because of Tamara Leach, I got some good news as regards to all that. Can you put up the last link I put out there? Yonker. I think it's Yonker, but pronunciation may vary. We got some good news from the trucker convoy. And speaking of Tamara Litch, here's Tamara. Congratulations, Harold Jonker, not guilty on all 4 counts. So the Canadian government, this is one of the truckers that was involved in the convoy situation, the protest of the truckers, because they were mandating an experimental drug at a time called when the thing was a sickness time. And they wouldn't be able to work unless they had a special exciting medical treatment. They go, well, I don't know where that should be allowed. And so they fought against it. They went and protested, and then the government weaponized. And apparently the highest court in Canada ruled that actually pulling out the old War Measures Act, or whatever they call it,
Emergencies Act, yeah, same thing.
Emergency, you can't do it. It was overplayed. The government totally overplayed, high-handed. We got Native American Canadians running around getting bowled over with their walkers by the RCMP or whatever, the frickin' Ottawa police are on their horses. It was an absolute fiasco. Tamara Litch. Blake, speak to Tamara. Let our American friends know who Tamara is. She's great. I'd vote for her. She should run for office.
Well, and she check marks all the political correct DEI check marks, even though she's not DEI, but she is a woman and she is a Métis. So, I mean, there's 2 major check marks. And a matter of fact, a lot of First Nations, Native Americans, or Native Canadians backed what she was promoting at the time was a backlash against the mandates. And it was simply against the mandate. It was time to take it down. It was hurting a lot of people. A lot of people were losing their jobs. And that's what created the trucker convoy. Yeah. And she was one of the leaders to inspire people to go protest. And it just was a protest. It wasn't an insurrection. And Trudeau tried to paint what she was doing as no different. He tried to make it look like the Canadian version of January 6th.
Yeah,
it was like the same people running that PSYOP were running the same PSYOP in Ottawa. The same people. And I will say it over and over again. It's not a conspiracy. It is a fact. It is the same thugs that run the same show like they did in January 6th they were doing here in Canada. The same messaging, homophobes, racists, white nationalists, all that crap, sending in assets to dress up like Confederates or with Nazi symbols. Those guys were kicked out of there by the organizers faster than you could blink an eye, but just enough that they could do that in front of their media cohorts.
What
but
was
she is a freedom fighter for Canada. She's a national hero, and I agree she should run because she would win. I mean, she would win at least at become an MP, or maybe become part of the Alberta government or Saskatchewan government. One of the two. Yeah. She needs to get there. But you know what? Maybe some of the premiers will protect her from Ottawa. Maybe it's time for maybe Daniel Smith says we're going to defend her. So if you charge her and want to put her in jail, we'll protect her here.
I don't, Poilievre failed the truckers, grotesquely, spectacularly failed them. The only big name politician in Canada was Maxime Bernier, who went out even during when the latest thing came out, because Tamara is still being charged. She calls it, she's so good on the X platform, by the way, I follow her. This is another account you should be following on X is Tamara Litch, L-I-C-H. She is gold, man. And she says, at least it wasn't mischief, which is what the government's got her. She's in the world's longest mischief trial, and they want to throw the book at her and keep her locked up for 10 years for causing mischief. Absolutely. She didn't blow up a bank. She didn't throw a chair through a store window. She did no violent ill to anybody.
She didn't stab bed and breakfast.
She didn't stab any bread and breakfast.
She didn't burn cities down like the Summer of Love of 2020.
Yeah, she wasn't doing that.
Didn't tear down statues. Didn't murder people in the street. She didn't do any. They had bouncy castles.
Yeah, they had a bouncy castle. And this is why it was so crazy. And when you saw the people there, everybody was well behaved. There was, in fact, crime went down, and they were cleaning up garbage, and it was just an unbelievable thing.
And what the media didn't want to tell you, it was multiracial, multi-ethnic.
It sure the hell was.
It was there wasn't some specific agenda tied to one specific group. It was everybody was united. And if anybody watched it in its beginnings, it was amazing to see thousands of people at every overpass cheering them on to keep going.
You know what's the easiest thing in the world to do, Blake, is to dress up as a psyop entity to go fuck up another crowd. So say you're a little Christian group and you're out praying for, say you want prayer somewhere, you know, you want to be able to pray outside an abortion clinic or something. All you need to do is show up as with a Nazi flag and you're a raging liberal and you just go, I'm all for prayer. Wait. And then the media just, but it was a Nazi flag. They're Nazis.
Well, it was like those guys in the States that run around with those fatigues, brand new, all moving out of moving trucks. What are they called? They wear their masks. And it turns out they rip the masks on those guys. Some patriots rip the mask on. Turns out they're anti-fascists. They're part of the Antifa groups.
They are. That is the Patriot Front. They're called the Patriot Front. Yeah, they all look like FBI guys with their beige trousers and navy blue shirts, and they're all masked. Patriots, folks, if you want to know what Patriot, we don't wear masks. This is me and Blake right now here to tell you can find us. You can know where we are. There's no subterfuge with us. We're just, hi, Fred. Okay, we got another link here. This is Sue's brought in a headline. This is a good one. Blake, this is a story you've been following. Let's close the show off talking about this stuff.
Well, this is interesting because it kind of aligns with my thoughts of where Trump is headed with his earth-shattering news for coming to the United States and Canada. That's coming within days. That was his words. And we're still waiting to hear what the final word. But listen to what Mark Carney just said yesterday with a meeting with VP JD Vance in Rome. He goes, we spoke about building a new economic and security relationship between Canada and the United States, one that addresses immediate trade pressures, strengthens our defense cooperation, and secures our shared border. What have I predicted that they're shattering news? We are going towards, Cardi just laid it out right there. We're going to have a common security border now in North America. It is coming. I don't think it can stop it. Fortress North America is coming. But what was really interesting in there is about building a new economic and security. What's the economic portion that he's talking about? Could it be that we are talking about what Kevin O'Leary has been talking to Trump about doing, is creating simply a common North American market? Shared currency, shared security, shared values to defend North America. And it makes sense. I think Carney, even though I don't trust him, but Carney has no choice. He is part of the BlackRock, Brookfield, trillionaire asset manager class that I don't trust. But as you say, they're part of the money. They got to go where the power shifted. And I think they're being told, bring that money home by Trump. You need to invest in America. And if Canada is to survive, they have to be part of that. We can no longer be separate. We are an island, if that's the case, to the rest of the world. They're the only shared border we have that's actually a physical border where we trade north-south. It makes sense. Our societies are so integrated. The fact that you and I right now are talking about U.S. politics, Canadian politics, integrated, we talk about it all the time. We've grown up with each other's media, are grown up with the same music. And don't be surprised that this is going to happen over a 2-year period. It's going to roll out. They're going to have to do it. It's going to happen. But Fortress North America, and then we're talking the North American common market. I think Kevin O'Leary got to the ear of both of them, and I think he's that presented that idea out there, and I think it's going to happen. Canada, to have the automotive sector survive in Ontario, for mining and oil production and energy production in Canada to exist, canola and our farmers to keep going, we need to have a shared market with the U.S. We need our currency to be valued better. Which means using a U.S. unified currency. It's what he's saying here. So all you Canadians with your elbows up thought you were defending a new sovereign Canada with Mark Carney. Well, Mr. Asset Manager, I think, is negotiating exactly what you didn't want. But guess what? You're going to go drag down kicking and screaming something that's going to change your life for the better forever.
Yes. And I want to add this, Blake. Donald John Trump is not happy having a communist nation on the border. What did Marco Rubio say? Blake brought that story to us when Rubio was talking in this interview. Remember when he was talking about the trade situation in Canada? I think it was Marco Rubio that was mentioning it, or it could have been the Bongino situation, talk with Kash Patel. I think it was Kash Patel.
Yeah.
Blake. Yeah, it was Kash. Go ahead, tell the kids just.
Well, and we've got this security problem where they're admitting that through their intelligence networks and of course CSIS in Canada has stated this. This isn't anything new, but Canada's been the federal government has been hiding this, being the Liberal Party, or ignoring it, or part of it. We're not sure. But the infiltration of the Chinese CCP, Iranians, the Mexican drug cartels have been using Canada as a staging ground to develop monster fentanyl development and production here. Also to smuggle in hardened, what they're calling terrorists or criminals, whatever it is. It's very tough, rugged people getting into the country through Canada. But the point that they're saying that, and had stated that they had numerous times that the U.S. federal DEA and others have asked to help and be involved. Canada has rejected that in the last couple of years, and now they're seeing this, and I think it's all playing into this story. This is why we need to work together to secure our borders on the outside of Canada, the United States, where we will no longer need to have a passport to go between Canada and the U.S. We won't need to do anything. The border will be the 200-mile zone around our oceans.
Blake.
And that's where it will be. And we will catch these people trying to come in. And that just means, Canada, you're going to have to face it. You're going to have to share some of your sovereignty now with the fact that we're going to have U.S. bases in the north mixed with Canadians. We are going to have to share on that expense to defend what we have. And that isn't, to me, a loss of sovereignty. It's just, you don't see a lot of the European Union countries losing their souls like Italy, and they're still in the EU.
Yeah.
And I think the EU, what Kevin O'Leary's talking about with Trump would be a much better common economic market than the EU. Would blow it away.
It's a great thing because it gets around that whole idea of, now we're not Canadians and all this sort of thing. Like, you can still be your little Canada and vote for your little Canadian politicians, do your thing, but we're keeping an eye on you, says America, and we're not letting you get away with it. Here's another thing, Blake. Rubio comes up with 85% of the fentanyl coming in is through the northern border. This is absolutely amazing. Excuse me, Kash Patel. 85%. This director of the FBI, he knows the numbers. Canada's media lied to the Canadian people, saying it's just a small percentage. 1% of the drugs are only coming in from Canada. That's bullshit. They lied to us again. And I'm not seeing a lot of pushback from the CBC, the CTV. They're rolling over on this. They aren't going, Kash Patel's totally wrong. He's got the figures all wrong. They are not putting up much resistance to it. I believe Blake is absolutely right on with this. This North American security thing is a huge thing for Trump. I think we're on the way there. It's going to be manifesting somewhere along those lines, possibly even that we end up going. Here's another thought, Blake, before we go, because we're rapidly running out of time here. I like to keep it to an hour under. There is talk that Carney was allowed to come in and do his thing because it's a lot more palpable for our liberal idiots that when he speaks, they'll go, okay, well, he's our elbows up guy. At least it's not. If Poilievre was shaking hands with America, everybody's knuckles be up. But if it's one of their own going, I'm Canada, I'm playing hockey on my rink, even though I've got, citizenship in 3 other countries. Anyway, absolutely remarkable. Final word.
Well, and I think Carney, the guy is kind of strange to understand where's he headed, because some people have been talking about he's been kind of a conservative hiding in behind the liberals. So I mean, he was, when Rebel News was in Davos last year, he was one of the only people walked up to talk when they were kind of ambushed interviewing people coming out just outside the security gates. Well, they walked with Carney. Let them interview, and he responded. He wasn't one of those assholes ignoring what they're saying. Get out of my way. Get security to kind of push you out of the way. Carney actually talked to them all the way, and I thought that was kind of unique. Now, I'm not a fan of Carney. I know where he stands with that WF crowd, but I'm just saying Trump wanted him in there. And I don't think Trump was trolling. I think he actually wanted Carney in there, because if you're going to get anybody to convince the financial class, the Laurentian elite of Canada, that this is the way we have to go, it has to be the globalist banker who's going to say, yeah, we have to do this. And when Carney said, what is the biggest threat to Canada's national security? He said China. He didn't say Russia,
or
Russia,
America, or the United
America. He said China.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, the elbows up was all about, oh, America's our greatest threat. Oh my God. No, it's not. It's China. This is why we need to do it. There is a BRIC nation alliance being formed by China. So if we're going to survive together, we got to unify. And it's going to do it. But I think that's what we're seeing here. And I think Carney just let the cat out of the bag quietly. And of course, other people are going to read it in a different way. No, I think Carney's pretty plain on that. This is the plan moving forward. This is the Kevin O'Leary plan.
Great stuff. I love that, Blake. Folks, ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to be here at 12 noon tomorrow. Reminder, Wednesday is the expanded show. And by gum, we needed an expanded show today because there's so much news to start. Let's continue with this discussion tomorrow about Canada, the United States' future going forward, talking about that great, beautiful, big, beautiful bill, big, beautiful defensive circle. Just absolutely fantastic. By the way, some liberal, one last shot at liberals. So somebody was showing me some clip where they're going, oh, Trump didn't get in the bill, the taxes free for the service industry, no tax on tips. That's in the bill. No tax on tips. Trump going forward, keeps his word. But we got to fight the rhinos who are always trying to ruin these bills. So look for us at 3:00 Pacific tomorrow. We'll be back. As always, thumbs up on the program. Give us a follow. We really appreciate the subs. We're trying to build this thing. Marty, we love you. Thanks for bringing those great questions. We love them. And we love you, Marty. Thanks so much. Take care, everybody. And thank you above all, Blake. Incredible.